Oh my God. Don't I always start my lives with oh my God? Yeah, my vocabulary is ever limiting as I grow older. I was so much more articulate when I was younger. Um, what's massive, major? It's an update. Let me just let you know what went on with me this week. Um, I got a ton of work I have to finish by the end of this week. I have to finish up this 80s. I'm making like an 80s prom dress for somebody. Uh, I'm almost done altering this wedding dress. The freaking Lady de Rescue whatever costume that has to be done. Also, I'm giving myself a goal. I feel like I've taken way too long on that one. Um, and because I feel like I've been working so slow, like normally in pre-COVID days, I would work so fast. I would get things done so quickly. I was able to take on so much loads of work. And now I feel like so anyways, because of that and because I'm starting to work more outside the sewing world, like I do my temporary gigs. I don't know if maybe you've seen some of the videos that I have where I talk about, oh, you can do this gig and that gig and this day. Like this is what I do for a living. I'm like a freelancer. Um, my husband and I decided to send our youngest child back to school. We feel he needs in-person instruction. I feel like the virtual home learning it's like his focus is not there anymore, even when I sit next to him and try and help him. And my youngest is autistic, so he did do okay for quite a long while on online work. But then at now, like the past couple months, it's just been so hard for him to focus. And all of us agreed, and his teachers, that we read that maybe we'll try going back in person and see how that helps him with his focus and all that. So we're going to try and do that. So starting Monday, he's going to go back in person. So hopefully that works out, and maybe he can finish out the year like this. I think it's time. Um, my oldest wants to stay virtual, so he's going to stay virtual the whole year, um, and that I'm fine with. Whatever he likes. He likes doing school at home in his pajamas with his dog by his side, in his bed doing homework. So I'm like, whatever, that's fine, dude. Also, it's a miracle. Okay, let's check this out. So yesterday, I have been on a list for the Johnson and Johnson because I've been telling people like that's the shot that I want because I just want to get like one and done. I understand the efficacy is not as good as the other ones. We have to take like two doses, but I need to get it done. You know what I mean? So I've been on this list through this local pharmacy who was supposed to get Johnson and Johnson shots. I've already been on it for like more than a month. The people that work there are, excuse me, but whoever answers the phone, I mean, 100% incompetent. Like the incompetency is just, don't even get me started. Oh my God. Apparently with this person, they can't find the list, but there's no list to call people on the list. I know that sounds nuts, but you have to understand the phone conversations I've had when I call this pharmacy to check up on my status. So, anyways, yesterday my mom's just like, I'm so tired of this pharmacy because she called and they gave her the same runaround that they give me when we're trying to ask about where we are on this list to get our shot or my shot. She had put me on the list. I guess she didn't think I was telling the truth or something. So she's like, yeah, I think I spoke to that guy you spoke with, and I'm done with this pharmacy. And I was like, yeah, you had probably the same conversation I did. So I was at work yesterday. My mom was like, what's your Walgreens account password? Blah, 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 blah. So I told her, and she's like, I registered you for the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. They already gave me an appointment date. It's tomorrow. And I was like, what? I've been on the list from another pharmacy for like more than a month, and you just signed me up at Walgreens, and in 5 minutes I had an appointment for the next day to get my shot. Incredible. So this morning I got my Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine. I'm so happy. I already took off where was the freaking, oh, here's where I had it. The band-aid was right here because I can see the outline of like the glue or whatever. Um, and believe me, I'll try and make this quick, but I have so much to say today because my grandmother's spending the night, but she's okay right now. We bought her shrimp cocktail. She's watching a John Wayne movie. Like she's all good right now. She's in her little world. So I thought I'd come on here and talk to you guys. Yeah, so I went this morning. My appointment was at 8:30 in the morning. I showed up. I was registered. It was pretty on time. I got my shot like 10 minutes later. I feel fine so far. But I asked somebody else on my Instagram who had just gotten it like 2 days or something ago like that. And he's like, oh, everything started going horrible after 8 to 9 hours. I felt so terrible and horrible. I will admit earlier, I was watching TV with my grandma and I just got so freaking exhausted out of the blue. Like I just passed out on the couch. Now, many factors could go into why I probably fell asleep like that, which you know what? I didn't even sleep for that long, but like I literally passed out. Like I was blackout drunk. Like I just fell asleep and I woke up and the movie we were watching was at some other part. And I was like, oh my God. Like I hate taking day naps because I always feel I have so much stuff to do. Like I always want to be moving that naps are kind of like a waste of time for me. Sounds nuts, right? So yeah, I guess it is kind of swollen. I mean, it doesn't hurt, but I could tell it's sore. Like if I do this, I can feel back here there's a soreness. But so far I'm okay. I'm already 8 hours into from when I first had my dosage. So I don't know how I'm gonna feel tomorrow. And I had told my mom, because I told her I would take my grandma in for this weekend. And I was like, well, I don't know how I'm gonna feel. If I don't know if it's be safe that I take care of my grandma and I just got this shot, not knowing how my body's gonna react to it. So she was just like, well, if you start feeling really bad, just call me and I'll come pick her up. So that's what I'm banking on, that I don't end up with anything. If I do get sick, I'll have to push back some some fitting, some try-ons that I had scheduled for this Monday. But I mean, it is what it is. If that even ends up happening, I don't know. So far, I feel okay. I'm glad I took that little weird pass out drunken nap earlier, but I feel fine. And then my kids wanted something that everything I talk about goes back. I think it revolves back to something that I've made a video on in my YouTube channel. Dear God. So earlier, my son has had this. He's been like just jonesing for an aguas frescas all week. He's been asking me every day. So he asked me earlier, and I had just woken up from my nap, and I was like, "Screw it, I'll go," because I want to wake up. You know what I mean? So I was like, "All right, I'll go to the store." So I went to this local grocery store called Vista Market where I live, and I went to go get him an aguas frescas. I was like, you know what? And I'll get one of my little bubbly drinks because my mom told me that I should be drinking a lot of water since I took my vaccine. So I hope Perrier counts. It's lime flavored. I hope it counts. But can't even drink. I have no manners. So I went there and right before I left, I had asked my grandma, do you want anything to drink? And then I was like, oh my God, I'm so stupid. I'm going to the bakery because they have a bakery in this grocery store. I was like, do you want some sweetbread? She's like, oh yeah, with my coffee later. And I was like, I got you. So I went to the bakery first. And this is where I have a problem with my Spanish. Because sometimes I think I can speak Spanish. And then by the other people I'm speaking to, it is, I guess, reciprocated or whatever, that I cannot speak Spanish. So let me give you an example. So, and like I said, this goes back to videos. My life just revolves back around these rant videos that I make on YouTube. So I have this video that's quite a few views on it, and it's about being a Mexican person, ancestry, whatever, but you can't speak Spanish. I have a whole video on that. You may watch it for your viewing pleasure if you wish. It's in my rants galore, rants and raves tab on my channel, where how I have things categorized. So you can check that out. But anyways, so I go to freaking Vista and I go to the bakery and I'm waiting in line, and before me are these two boys, and they're trying to, obviously with COVID, everybody has their masks on, and then in front of the bakery, where usually you would like lean over the counter to speak to the employee, they have like those big glass or those plexiglass things, right? So these kids are trying to communicate with this lady, and she's obviously not hearing them. They're like they're like yelling at her, but not in like a rude way, with just like raising their voice so they could be heard, and she's raising their voice to them so they could hear her, and it just goes back and forth. So I'm like, okay, when it's my turn, I'm gonna have to like yell at this lady so I could be understood, right? Excuse me. So when it's my turn, I think of my husband first of all, because my husband really likes these circular little spongy cake cookie things called, well, let me get to that. They're called conchas, right? Also in Spanish, a concha is like a slang for pussy. So keep that in mind as I tell this story. But obviously, I'm in a bakery. We know what conchas are, right? It's this cookie with like a grid imprinted on this frosted side of the cookie. So I'm like, yeah, yo quiero un concha de chocolate, por favor. And she's like, pardon? And I'm like, and I thought maybe I wasn't being loud enough. And I was like, un concha de chocolate, por favor. And she's like, quiere una esponja. And I was like, yeah, I guess, like, whatever, esponja. Sí, una esponja, un concha, pero de chocolate, but of chocolate, because they have like chocolate, plain yellow, pink colored ones. But she looked at me like I said a bad word, right? And I was like, girl, you know I'm talking about this cookie. I'm not talking about I want chocolate pussy, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, I wrote this on my Facebook, and now the algorithm's starting to kick in, because like I haven't been very active on Facebook that much lately, at least on my personal wall, like giving my dumb opinions about stuff. I really haven't. So today I finally wrote about my story going to the bakery, and some people were like, no, actually it's a Mexican American border thing to call them conchas, but actually the proper term for these types of pastries are esponjas. And then I told somebody, I was like, and again, I'm thinking in English baking terms. Isn't it an esponja? Esponja means it's squishy, puffy, think like spongy. Like in English baking terms, like when I watch the Great British Bake Off or whatever, you in the cakes you refer to like the bread part as the sponge. Like that's the sponge of the cake, right? Because like I mean the whole thing is a cake when it's frosted or sprinkled or whatever, but like just the sweet bready part is called a sponge. So I told this person that responded to me, I was like, isn't the esponja the term for the bread or something that puffs up? I wonder, is this applicable in Spanish? And then he says, well, your guess is as good as mine. Maybe we have been asking for chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla flavored pussy our whole lives, and the bakers around El Paso are fed up with it. And I'm like, oh, that's hilarious. So some people are like, yeah, it's conchas, and other people are like, no, dude, they're called esponjas. And I was like, what? Okay. And then this one lady got a little more technical, and she said some are called conchas because the mold for the sugar is in the shape of a shell, which a concha is like, think of like a conch shell, like of the sea, like it's a shell, right? But the general term is esponja. So I'm like, oh man, I'm like learning Spanish words here. This is awesome. And then someone reminded me, this is just like Chuco slang. We don't speak any form of Spanish that anyone else in the Latin American communities could understand. I'm just like, look, I am done with border slanglish. This is why I can't speak Spanish. Every so often, this happens to me. Okay, I'll go and I feel very confident in like my food lingo, like in Spanish, right? Like drop me off in a market in Mexico or whatever restaurant, I'm good. Like my food terminology is pretty good. So, oh my god, here's another one. This is where I give up. This guy, I know he's Mexican, but he's from California. So we're in different states, different cultures, different names for food, which I'm learning now. um, he says we call them conchas, and they're also chilindrinas. It's almost the same, but they use sugar crystals on top, and they're colorful. But I have heard of esponja before, but rarely. And then I say, "You calling them what?" Chilindrinas, and I go, let me tell you what I think of when I think of chilindrina. We get those at the snack shops, and it's a big flat cracker thing. It's a massive cracker, like this size, right? And they put strips of pickled pork skins on top, shredded cabbage, chile, cheese. Like it's like a appetizer. And he goes, I'm so confusion. Like, I give up. I give up learning any form of Spanish. I give up. This, and like I just said, this happens to me every so often. Okay. Another time when I wrote this on my Facebook, I had went to a taco restaurant here because I love tacos, right? So me and my husband went to a taco restaurant, and the guy brought out our tacos, and he was about to leave, and he, because they bring out the big tray where they take out all your food. So I didn't see something that I usually get with my tacos, and I was like, hey, se falta el plato de verduras por mi tacos. And he's like, uh, lo siento, I'm sorry, pardon, I'm sorry, pardon me. And I go, I un plato de verduras, is there a vegetable plate to go with my tacos? And he's like, mind you, this man spoke no English the whole time he was waiting on us. We were like speaking Spanish to him the whole time. And he's like, verduras, no entiendo, señora. And I don't understand, ma'am. And I'm like, like verduras, like vegetables, uh, la cebolla, the onion, uh, the little radishes. I forgot how you say that in Spanish. The thing of cilantro you get on the side. He's like, oh yeah. Okay, see. I'll return. How do you say return? I forgot how you say return. I'm thinking of all kinds of words now. And I was like, okay. I thought verduras was the word for vegetables. So I went on Facebook because like I have a bunch of people on Facebook that speak Spanish that I know they could correct me. And they're like, yeah, verduras is the word for vegetables. That guy's dumb. And I was like, what? And then another lady, she's like, well, if you go to Mexico City, actually the proper term is vegetables. And I'm like the way it's spelled vegetables in English. She's like, yeah, but vegetables is like the more proper way to say vegetables. Although he should have understood what you meant when you said verduras. Like, so this is where I can't Spanish. I know I'm saying the proper words, but apparently we don't say conchas for esponjas anymore or whatever the hell. I'm saying bad words to the baker. I'm telling her I want a chocolate pussy. Like, I don't know. What the fuck? what what do I even do? America? I can't freaking Spanish, dude. So I'm just like, I just can't, dude. I can't. So, so I'm just like, I can't, dude. Um Yeah. So that happened to me today. Super fun. Love it. Excuse me. And like last night, again, I've had, oh yeah, and then all this past week, I just got better about 2 days ago. I had the stomach bug. Oh my God, dude. Throwing up, both ends of me, terrible. At the same time, absolutely, it was bad. It was tremendously bad. And like my stomach wasn't normal like all week. I've never had a stomach bug like that before. Like usually it's just like, oh, you get all the poison out, right? And then like, okay, next day you're good. But like this lingered for days and days and days. Even like I got sick the day after, the night of Easter. And then I think my last symptom was like Thursday, because even when I went to work, I was still feeling sick. And then finally Friday, I felt 100% better. So yeah, whatever the hell that is. And then last night I went out to eat burgers at this place, and my husband and I had some drinks because my son spent the night with my mother, and my older son had went out with some friends. So we're like, well, let's just get out and try and enjoy ourselves. And I ordered like this massively, it sounds disgusting, burger. And I was just like, I'm online.
Huh?
I'm online. What's up?
Cool. By the way, I'm turning on the air.
Okay. Are the windows closed? Okay. It's hot in here, apparently. Which means I'm going to have to cover my grandmother soon because she gets super cold right away. So he's probably going to have to cut the live short. But yeah, so I had like 2 drinks last night and this disgusting, gigantic burger. I'm sure it was delicious. I took one bite and I was like, I shouldn't have had those nachos for an appetizer. But it was like a buffalo chicken burger, but the buffalo chicken patty, like the one that's like soaked in that buffalo sauce, it was like on top of a meat patty. So it was like a burger, legit burger, and a buffalo chicken sandwich, like all in one sandwich. I couldn't even eat it today. Like my son had to eat it. Just like, I mean, I'm sure it tasted delicious. I'm not saying it was gross, but I think it was just on me trying to do too much last night. It's just too much eating, just coming off of being sick. But it is what it is. So he ate that. Everybody's happy. So I'll go ahead and I'll end this live stream. Oh, also, if you're watching, this is gonna be a long time coming because every time I make a video now, I'm just taking my sweet time because again, I'm hoping once my son goes back to school, my productivity can rise to the level it was at one time. So if you want, I am collecting questions to make like a Q&A compilation video, as you know, Q&A, whatever. So hopefully if you haven't sent in your questions yet, you can ask me a question. I'll answer almost anything because I'm really stupid, but keep it like kind of cool, you know what I'm saying? Like not really bad. So yeah, let me just drink this some more. See if I can remember any more dumb adventures I've had this week. Yeah. So yeah, send in your questions. Oh yeah, let me just mention what I'm doing here this week for this job that I'm doing. And I've been saying this for a while, and I think it is coming to, I am going to have to make a video on this because like I have another video where I talk about how to get certain side gigs, which what I'm doing now is new. I'm doing something called merchandising, which, you know, some of the things that I do, I'm baffled. Like there's a job for this. People have been doing this type of work, and I've never bothered. Like I've seen this job before for merchandising. Excuse me, but I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to do something like that. So basically, I get paid like $25 an hour to go to, like, let's say if Toys R Us was still open, to go to Toys R Us and they say, oh, you're only going to focus on the Nerf gun section. That's it. The Nerf guns or whatever. And that's what you're going to do. And you're just going to, and what I do is I just clean up this area, make sure that there's no trash in the shelving, replenish the stock if I need to go in the back and get permission and just like refill, just to make everything look full of product, right? And make everything organized and all that stuff. So I'm getting paid to do that. That's what merchandising is. And on Friday, when I went to this one store, I had asked, because I had already been doing this for 2 weeks. So now I feel like I really have the hang of it. So I asked the manager right off when I got to the store, I was like, will you give me access to your back stock so I can pull things to refill the shelves? And he's like, you know what? I'll be honest with you. We have no back stock. In fact, we're waiting on a freight shipment this week so we can replenish our back stock and all that stuff in the back. And I was like, really? But in my mind, I'm like, okay. I was like, oh, really? So you're telling me that there's no clothing or other helmets? I'm looking over here at the shelving. I can see that I'm going to need more mitts and helmets for this section. And you're telling me there's nothing in the back? And he's like, no, ma'am. We have such a big store. We just put everything out in the front. And I was like, okay. That means I'll be done early today. You have a good day. I'll go ahead and get to work. So I finished all my sections. I had 5 hours to do it. I did it in 4 hours, dude. 4 hours took me 45 minutes to do my report. I was out in the time allotted. Like the other 2 weeks I've been doing this, I've actually had to pull back stock out. And when you're doing that, like it takes up time when you're refilling the shelves. And then you don't know where anything is. So you're like looking through boxes like, oh, I'm looking for the mitts. Oh, no, these are bats. I'm looking for this. Oh, this is something else. So like I wouldn't be able to finish all my sections in 5 hours. But because I didn't have anything to pull from, I was just basically like making stuff look full by like pulling things here and like just filling gaps and like cleaning out the shelving. So I finished my job in 4 hours. It was really awesome. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. Maybe I should do a video on new gigs, especially. I should probably, you know what? I really should. No procrastinating on that, because also during the whole time in COVID, I was doing mock jury trials on Zoom. I don't know if anyone's ever done that. And I used to do it in person, but now they're doing it on like Zooms. Like they're realizing that you don't have to go in person to do these things. And surveys, like actual legit surveys and questionnaires where you get paid a lot of money when the what is it? The voting, the presidential election. I'm sorry, excuse me, cannot think. The presidential election, when that was going on last fall or this past fall, I did one survey for a research company and I had to watch little snippets of like voting commercials and things like that from like Donald Trump and Joe Biden and different things. And I had to watch a video every day or something like that for about 12 weeks. So I did my 12 weeks. And at the end of that, you know, because you have to do these things on time. I did everything on time. So I got a check for like $150. And all I did was like give 2, maybe 3 minutes of my day every day just to watch one of these little videos and get paid. So I would like to educate you guys about doing that now that I've been accustomed to doing that. You know, it's not just brand ambassador work. It's not just doing modeling stuff and acting. There's like other ways to make money that's legitimate. And now that I've started doing this merchandising thing, like I would like to do another updated video on what you can do to hustle to make money during this pandemic. What is this word? So I think that would be very interesting too. But again, you can go ahead and send in your questions for my Q&A, but I would like to do that as well. So I will leave you all be today. Have a good Saturday. Bye. Ta-ta.